Hello everyone, welcome to Books and Quirks. Today I thought I would give you my mid-June TBR. I didn't do a TBR at the very beginning of the month. However, I did do a Read-A-Rama TBR, and Read-A-Rama is a readathon that's starting tomorrow. So I'll show you those books real quick, but I won't go into any synopsis or anything because I already did a TBR for that. But I wanted to show you the rest of the books that I'll be reading throughout the month. Just to give you an idea of what I hope to accomplish, what I hope to finish this month in addition to Read-A-Rama. So just real quick, the Read-A-Rama TBR that I have first is The Giver, because one of the challenges is a book-to-movie adaptation. And I have never read The Giver, or actually that's a lie. I have read The Giver, but when I was like in the 6th grade. But I've never seen the movie, so I thought that would be a good book for that challenge. The next book is Fablehaven. I have Wolfbite. I have A Voice on the Radio. I have The Dubliners by James Joyce. Between the Lines by Jodi Picoult. And Crank by Ellen Hopkins. So those are the 7 books that I will be reading during Read-A-Rama this coming week. But let's get into the rest of the books that I have for the rest of the month. Okay, so the first book that I just want to get out of the way is Dragonfly in Amber by Diana Gabaldon. If you've watched any of my previous Friday reads, you know that this was a book that I was supposed to have done before Read-A-Rama. Now, I did put this book down. I'm only about a third of the way in. I won't go into any spoilers since this is the second book in the series, but it did take a little bit of a different turn than what I expected, and because of that, it's just going a little bit slower. I'm enjoying it. I'm just not really sure where the story's going, and it just took a different turn. I can't really get into more than that. Okay, so the next book after Read-A-Rama that I want to get done this month, hopefully, is The Fourth Wish by Lindsay Rebar. This is the second book in a duology. The first book is The Art of Wishing, and I absolutely loved that book. I read it last month. I adored it, and it was it's just a modern day genie story. It's very light, it's very cute, you know, it's not a lot of depth, but it's just really, really fun. It's a fun, cute summary read. Okay, the next book that I have is another duology. It's the second book in another duology, and it's Therosin the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh. I think that's how you say her last name, Ahdieh. The first book is The Wrath in the Dawn, and I'm sure you've seen this around BookTube. I'm so excited for this second book. I bought it when it first came out last month, but I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet, and I really, really want to because I loved the first book so much. The next book that I want to read is a book that I got, I believe, in my uppercase last month, and that is Girl Against the Universe by Paula Stokes. But it sounded, when I first read the synopsis, when I first got my uppercase, it sounded really interesting, and it's such a pretty book. Isn't it beautiful? I think it's beautiful. I love the bright cover. I'm excited to get into that. The next book that I want to read is a nonfiction book, and it is The Psychopath Test by Jon Ronson. I had this in my May book haul, and it just goes into the depths of, you know, psychosis and psychopaths in our society and all levels of psychopaths. I've always been intrigued by like true crime and things like that. So I saw P.T. Hilton do a review on this a long time ago, like a year ago. And it sounded really interesting. It's really short. So I really want to get through this. It's a New York Times bestseller, and it just sounds really cool. The next book that I want to get into is a book that I received in my Fairy Loot box, and that is Ruined by Amy Tintera. This is the first book in a new series, and I'm excited to see how I like it. Amy Tintera also wrote the Reboot duology. Reboot and Rebel, I think, was the second one. But this sounds really, really cool. It's a fantasy. That's all I really know about it, but I want to get started with it. Everyone's talking about it on BookTube. I feel like it's really hyped up a lot in the YA community, and I want to give it a shot. The last book that I want to finish in June, oh my god, I was almost going to say July, is another nonfiction book, and it's a book that I've seen also quite a lot of people review lately, and that is Columbine. Columbine is the true story of the Columbine school shooting in Colorado in 1999. And Columbine has really always intrigued me because I actually remember Columbine. I was pretty young, but I do remember hearing everything unfold on the news, and it just really goes, this book really goes into depth. It's a really hard, heavy book, but it really goes into detail about, dealing with the shooting. It does go into detail, the timeline of the shooting, what actually happened, minute by minute, but it also goes through, dealing with that and the aftermath and, the psychology of it, I guess. So these are the books that I'm going to be reading in June in addition to Read-A-Rama. I hope you enjoyed. I will give a wrap-up also at the end of the month. And thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.